So when we say there's no good thing in me, we're not talking about this. We're talking about the flesh. So what part of man has to die? The flesh. Out of these heavens, which one is going to be burned and then renovated? I was talking about that today.
Burned and renovated?
Number one. Yeah, so right here, earth is going to be burned and renovated. So I want you to see the relationship between number one and earth. So even though we know that earth is separate from number one, the ground up to the celestial is heaven, number one. So what's going to be burned is earth. That's the renovation period in Revelation. And of course it has to be burned because of sin and all those things, but this is where God originally intended for us to live. Now it will be interesting for you to dig in deeper and find out. I was sharing earlier, there's different rankings. A lot of times we don't teach this in church, and for good reason, because pride can kind of get in there. And if you don't watch it, you'll be doing stuff because you want a better status, when it shouldn't technically be about that. But in heaven, there is ranking and there is status, as you can see.
Did they say used to call them choirs? The angels, those groupings were called choirs.
Oh, were they?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. So then there will be 3 sets of choirs?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably a good study too, because I bet they all sound different. There's probably a different song that they sing than these people sing.
Yeah, I imagine.
Okay.
Sure.
And I can say that these people, what's also you can add to that, that makes more sense when you say a song that the angels can't sing.
That's it.
Because we're in a different place. So we have a note, we can hit a note a different way than they can, because they don't know what we see, what we experience, and how we can articulate that expression.
I think that's in Revelation when the angels are singing.
Okay.
Those.
Yeah, you can find that. That would be good. And that's what I want you to do with this. If you write this down, then I want you to be able to put scriptures on this. And you should know this, but we do have scriptures for it. But this is a good concept for you to be able to understand.
So, today when I was in my prayer time, and I was asking them to give me a better understanding of this.
Speak a little bit louder so they can all hear you.
And today in my prayer time, I was asking God to give me a little bit more understanding of this. And so when I was praying and I was asking, whatever I was asking God for, I got to the place where I was asking Him. And it came to my mind that I could pray, which would be my spiritual warfare, and ask God to release whatever is being held up in the second heaven. That's right. You see what I'm saying? So thank you, right. So it's not that He doesn't answer our prayers. Sometimes we get prayers answered straight from heaven number 3. Boom. Sometimes the way it is and where there's intercessory and asking God to release what's held up, because you already know in your heart, in your spirit, in your soul, that He's answered that prayer. So then what came to me was, that's when you call on Michael and Gabriel. As warring angels. Power. You need more power to get whatever is being held up in that second heaven.
Where is Michael and Gabriel?
I think in the second heaven, because
I think they're in the first heaven.
What are they?
They're fighting angels.
They're archangels. They're
archangels.
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 Yeah.
Okay, so they're archangels. So then what? Then that changes what I'm saying, because
not really, because see, we make this look simple.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was
But if you think of a croissant, it's layer after layer after layer after layer, like that line of butter and dough, right? These are layers.
Oh, okay.
These are layers.
They coexist together. You know, you read a lot of science fiction, but they coexist side by side, but you really can't see them.
Right.
Because
they have different
worlds.
I'm saying, where's God? Where's that message coming, the answer coming from?
Third heaven.
Right. So when you read Daniel,
Uh-huh.
and that angel that was coming down to give the answer, and it was stuck,
Yeah,
he
that's
got
what
stuck. Where did he get stuck?
I'm
In second heaven. So he was coming down. So we know he was one of these.
So when we say, Lord, we say that Jesus is sitting right in the Father, you know, the throne of God, and when we go to the throne of God,
So you
kind
remember,
of stuff.
you are, okay.
Kind of stuff.
Um,
Because
if you think of the story of Daniel, they actually gave good coordinates. He said that he was coming down with the answer,
yeah.
but he got tied up by who?
Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia. Is Persia a real place?
No.
Persia's not a real place. Peru?
It's a real
Oh,
place.
Peru.
I mean, Persia, excuse me, Persia. Persia is a real place.
Okay.
So
The Prince of Persia.
what happens is
So that was their
these
powers.
have influence on the scene. The unseen has influence on the scene.
Yeah. Okay.
And that kind of makes sense now what I was thinking. So after Bible study last time, I found this message that really talked about what we're talking about very clearly. Well, it was very clear, but some of the stuff she said, and I was just like, oh, I wouldn't really say it like that. But I see why situations like this, why they say it that way. But let me explain it my way first. So if you understand, okay, so take your mind off of this for a second. There's different spirits at, we'll say Vegas.
Okay, yeah.
You know, just the typical. The different spirits in Atlanta. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. There's a different spirit in Utah, right?
Classrooms.
There's a different spirit in Lancaster.
For sure.
Then Beverly Hills. Do you see the spirits?
Yeah.
The spirits control or rule over the mindset. So those spirits are influencing the soul, right? And so this sphere, everything goes down. So this sphere is influencing this sphere. One of the things that they say is that it can be operating illegally. So, meaning they, like a puppet, are doing stuff, they're like a puppet doing stuff in this realm that they shouldn't be doing. So this makes sense when you look at, on the geographical, Persia, right, the place, and the person over, the principality over Persia that's operating. The Bible says the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord.
Yeah.
Right?
The heart of the king.
See, the Persians they had a different spirit in Persia. They were different people altogether. That's when they had the problem, because that spirit that they had in Persia was different than the ones they had. So they had to battle that spirit.
Okay, I can explain it.
Hopefully that's
All right, so yeah, let's find that one. I think it's in.
But I had to, yeah, now.
Find something else.
No, that's right. I got it out. Mine is out. It's 15. Today we go.
21 and 1.
Yeah, 21 and 1. Read that for me.
The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will.
Yeah. So what does that mean?
And God is even in control of the king
How?
because he has his heart in his hand.
Okay. Does that make sense to everybody?
That's kind of like when Nebuchadnezzar, he explained to him, I'm in control of everything. So he's in control of the king's heart.
Right. So when you say that,
Pharaoh's true.
is he directly? No, because he's given us free will. But he does know how to make this situation so tough to where you're like, no, I don't want to do that. And then